Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary LeMaster.
And as always, we're glad to be here.
We're here. We're so used to saying that.
It's weird.
Episode number 2 as a
all by ourselves.
A non-affiliated podcast. And I got to say, we really appreciate you guys sticking with us through this transition. It's been really nice to see some of the messages of support and seeing guys at shows coming up and telling us they enjoyed the last episode and wishing us luck going forward.
Yeah.
That's been really cool.
Yep. Ditto. And y'all have been listening. Y'all listen to what we talk about. That's a good feeling that we're not just talking into the airwaves for no one.
Into the ether for our own.
We will talk for ourselves and for our own ego.
Absolutely.
We have no problem doing that. No. We do it all the time. But in this particular situation, it's good to know that people are listening and interested.
Right.
So we got a little bit to talk about today. A little bit going on in the hobby. A little bit
smidge
coming down the pipeline.
Smidge.
Give me a cliche. Come on. Your turn.
I'm not the cliche guy. That's your job. I say the deep and philosophical things, and you say
it's
things
deep
like
when you're talking. That's
down
true.
The pipeline.
It's definitely deep when you're talking. I'm gonna need hip waders. Let's start off with PSA. So PSA, I mean, obviously they've had a little bit going on. The eBay PSA situation. Which have you taken advantage of that yet?
No.
Okay, so make sure I got this right. You can basically buy a card and directly send it to PSA from your purchase?
Well, PSA owns the eBay vault now. So, yeah, you can never have the card in your hands.
But you can't send it from a purchase to be graded directly?
Not yet. They're saying that that's coming, but I think that's going to be an absolute cluster
if
they try it.
If you don't have a chance to look it over either, that could be a disaster.
Right. I don't think that's a good idea, but that's what they've said is coming. For me personally, I don't like the whole vaulting thing, but it does save you sales tax. You don't have to pay sales tax if you do that.
Yeah.
If you're buying big cards, that can be a very good
I wonder
incentive.
if when that's dropped, would there be a really nice play on vintage where you're like, oh, that's at least a 5. Just send it straight to PSA.
Well, you could try, but again, from a photo,
surface
is tough. You might have a hairline crease that isn't visible unless the card's tilted at a certain angle, and then
now it's in a slab, and you got to argue with eBay that it's not in the condition you thought it was in. You've never seen it in person.
Right.
All right, so moving on from that, PSA has these new slabs that they released over the last few months. People have been talking about them, and they don't like them. There are these lines up in the top right and left corner where the card is held, called flow lines. People were making videos saying that they were cracked, they were faults, all this stuff. It seems like PSA is a little bit vague about exactly what it is. I know at first there was some talk like, oh, that's on purpose. This is just for us to know, like, blah, blah, blah. They all have that. And then the more and more people complain about it, they're like, yeah, we're just kidding.
Well, here's what it is. They're using a somewhat softer plastic that is not as fragile so that it's harder to crack the cases. When you're using a softer material and you're using heat, it's going to melt more. And that's what's causing those flow lines, because the way that those things are sealed is through sonic welding, and they're using sound waves to heat the plastic up so that it seals to itself. And when it's softer, that's what happens. Have you seen any of the pictures of guys trying to crack them and it just looks like you took it in the corner of a fire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it does bring me a little bit of joy. It's also a little bit annoying. So it brings me joy because there's a lot of people I know that are like this too. I don't mean any offense. We've all maybe done it once or twice, but the guys that really don't know how to pre-grade cards and they just keep sending the same card over and over until it gets a better grade. And now they're like negative on the value of the card, but they need that number to feel smart.
You want to have a fun one that goes to that?
Yeah.
So yesterday at Cincinnati, I passed on it because I'm just not playing in the big boy Stroud card market right now. But Marcus and Noah bought it.
I saw it, yeah.
Purple CJ Stroud. The pop on the PS... Now, this is numbered to 125. Mm-hmm. The pop on 10s is 54, and the pop on 9s is 87. What's the math say that the total is there?
Yeah.
More than 125, which means how many of those 10s were 9s? A few.
And you're seeing a lot more of that, too. I was listening to somebody talking about this, saying, like, there's a lot of these low pop card or low circulation cards that have that. So are they being overprinted? No, there's that many people that just keep subbing it over and over and over.
Yeah, until they get the number they want.
I understand on a large card, like if you were super invested in that and you thought it was going to be a certain grade and it didn't hit that, and you're like, oh man, like. But I have an example, but it's way different.
What's that?
I have that Brady rookie, the Victory rookie.
Yeah.
He got an 8.5. What was that grading company we were doing on
GMA?
Yeah, GMA back in the day. I want to put that in a PSA slab. If it gives me a 6, I've got a Brady 6. But that's the slab I wanted. Maybe a SGC. But I'm going to crack that card in resub because I don't like which holder it's in.
Right.
PSA though, they're this new material they're using, and they seem to be a little bit thicker as well. The slabs, it's going to be harder to crack them, on the side of your table and have them in a group sub before the show's over.
So yeah, if you're cracking,
which by the way, you mentioned Noah and Marcus, I do want to give them a shout out. I want to reciprocate.
Okay.
That they pumped up my store. So Twins and Friends Cards and Collectibles, make sure to check them out. They're on eBay. They also set up at a lot of shows around Central Ohio.
They're on TikTok too.
Exclusively football still. Yes?
Yeah.
Unless something's really cool.
Yeah, occasionally random thing, but usually when they get that random thing, it's baseball, and they call me and like, do you want this? Yeah, I'll take it.
So be sure to check them out. They get a lot of good football stuff, but they had that Stroud. Was it to 125?
Yeah, PSA 10. Yeah. I passed on it just because I didn't want to drop $2,000 on a Stroud card. But if you're gonna crack these new slabs, and really if you're cracking any slab of a nice card, you can watch all the online tutorials you want to. You risk damaging the card
anytime.
Okay. Now, here's how you minimize the risk of damaging the card. It's going to cost you $40 one time, but you go to Harbor Freight's website and you download their weekly 50% off of any one item coupon, and then you roll into your local Harbor Freight and you go grab their $80 tabletop scroll saw, and you use your 50% coupon on it, and then you use a scroll saw to cut off the top of the slab, and it will be clean. And it will not damage the card, and then you gently pry apart what's there. That's your best opportunity. Is there still a chance you can damage the card during the second step of the process where you're prying things apart? Yes. But do you minimize your risk? Also, yes.
I would go ahead and go on the record and say power tools can be dangerous.
Oh, for sure. Don't be a
Not
dummy.
Everyone knows how to use
my assumption is that if you do that you are a functional adult. Like, that's my assumption. Maybe it's a wrong
assumption. Have you been to
assumption.
these card shows?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Some of these guys have never used deodorant, let alone a saw.
That's true.
So,
none of you guys that are listening, you guys are all awesome. But
you have
some of the people you know.
Great hygiene for all the listeners here. But yeah, that'll be interesting. I also saw a real famous YouTube channel where he was showing how he cracked slabs, and he clipped with pliers or wire cutters or whatever in the middle, top and bottom. And I'm thinking, and like pulled it away like an Oreo. Like,
yeah.
No. The answer is no.
Okay.
The answer
I'm
is
picturing
no
what's going
to that.
on, and I can see how
conceptually,
it
yeah, but he actually destroyed the card,
Oh,
showing
did he?
everyone how he
worked.
did it.
Nice. Was it a nice card?
Yeah, I'm like a corner plier. He had a mantle, but he was practicing on another one first, and he thought he'd show all the viewers how he does it, and he destroyed the one on the practice. But yeah,
that sucks.
Corner pliers, flathead screwdriver. I've never had an issue, but I guess it does happen. It's possible.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got that news of PSA. We have the National coming up just a few weeks in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Believe Land. Gary and I will be up there. Everyone's going to be up there.
If you guys are there, come find us. We're hard to miss.
Yeah.
We're not small people.
We will be digging through boxes. We'll be doing some shopping. I'm taking up some cards that are a little bit like nicer and harder to find. Hopefully maybe trade or sell. We are doing VIP passes, so we'll be in some of the lounges. Just for the record, we're not sounding snooty. You pay for those.
Right.
No one is giving us. We are not VIPs. Only we pay to feel very important.
Yeah. We don't even qualify for media badges at this point.
No. One day.
One day.
Yeah. We're probably like further from that now that we're not in the network.
That's probably true.
I don't want your stupid media badges anyway.
Jerks.
Well, it's funny. All these guys are going to have media badges and then just be walking around with cameras.
Right.
Like, look, all right, I'm going to get on a little riff here.
We will have some content from up there, too.
Let me get on a riff here. I appreciate, there's a lot of influencers where their primary income is content. They love cards, but they make their money on content in the space. So I don't know if it's primarily that way, but I know like Card Collector 2, even in interviews, they say we are a content business. in the card space. So it's not like there's anything to laugh at with the volume of cards he moves and the kind of stuff that they have going to the shop there, because it's a lot. And it's really good stuff that he gets. He does a lot of business.
And none of it actually goes through the shop. It all goes on his Whatnot channel.
Whatever. Well, that's more and more happening. If somebody has a following, you're going to get more money.
His showcases are trash.
Oh, my gosh.
They're bad. They're bad.
You can't help yourself.
They're bad. I was just there. They're bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
I have a hunch that whatever's going to be going on up at the National will be all right. But anyway, what I was getting at was there are also a lot of people that think that's what they do. They think they are a content business.
Right.
But they are a small to mid-size eBay store.
Right.
That has overpaid for a cameraman to follow them around so that people think.
Yeah, you don't need a cameraman. You just need a GoPro and have some fun.
The problem with that is if there's 500 of you in the National, there's no way all of you are that important.
Correct.
Even with media badge. So these media badge guys, they're not necessarily speaking or setting up. They're probably walking around with GoPros for the most part, which we got to get some video content and all that. I plan on just murdering dollar boxes.
10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's our goal to each fill a 4-row each day?
So I have a backpack, which is essentially, it holds almost the same as a 4-row.
Yeah.
And so I want to fill that up. What would make me really happy is if I could move a couple of these nicer cards. I have a couple consignment cards I really want to move, like that, the 66 Cassius Clay, the 56 Max Schmeling Adventure.
If any of you guys are into boxing stuff and you want to drop $6,000, $7,000 on a Cassius Clay rookie that's super high graded, hit Jason up.
Yeah, I've got some really cool stuff. But hopefully, there's got to be a boxing booth or two up there.
Oh, there will be. Out of the 4,000 tables? Yeah.
Hopefully they don't murder me too much on it, but if I can move a couple of those the first day, that would really set things off for me.
Right.
But I'm buying inventory. So we'll be up there for the National Thursday through Sunday. We're not going up Wednesday. We'll be in lounges and all that. I will get tired, so I will be sitting around from time to time.
Well, I'm picking up, and I told you I didn't send you the picture of it, but I'm buying off of Amazon this little pop-out stool, and it is fantastic. It's $25. It holds 400 pounds, which will comfortably hold me.
How big around is the surface that you're sitting on?
Like 12 inches. I mean, it's just to like sit down in a box in front of 3 or 4 4-row boxes and not kill your feet.
Well, you won't kill them because you won't feel anything within 30 minutes.
You just got to shift.
That's not what I thought that was going to be.
Well, there's other things, but this is what I'm going to get because it seems like it would work.
Do you
really
remember
well.
those of you listening at home? Do you remember those little collapsible steel cups? When,
it's just like a big version of that. Yeah,
that's basically what it is. Whatever happened to that? That was so cool. Nobody's doing that anymore.
Yeah, but probably some of the lead leaching into the liquid that
somebody had to sue, and now we can't have that anymore. But yeah, National coming up just a couple weeks. We'll be up there. Hope to see you up there as well.
We'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep. Let's talk about Topps Chrome Baseball. It's releasing just before the National.
July 17th.
Couple things. One, Fanatics is doing a really good job teasing and promoting chasers that will be in the product. Notice that they're getting creative with it. We talked about it last week with what they did with Series 2. Now they have some really cool dual auto inscriptions, some different things that they've been showing with that. From what we understand, they're doing the buyback program again, which if you're going to open a lot of product or you want to have a little hustle for your LCS, buy up guys, they're base cards that you think could be MVPs, and some people really rake it. You get a whole. Some guys are turning in these base cards for hobby boxes.
Well, did you see the guy that walked into Burbank last year with a wheelbarrow full of Acuñas?
No.
Yeah, it was like 2,000 of them, and he had bought them for anywhere from $1 to $2 a piece, and he ended up getting like $40K.
Yeah.
In store credit.
Yeah.
For them.
That's awesome. So. To counter that, we were talking about one of the listeners I was talking with the other day was hanging out with Craig, and he said, have you seen the checklist? So I hadn't pulled it up. It's a much larger checklist than we've had in the past.
Yep.
So a few reasons for that. One, maybe they just want us to be exposed to more great players.
Nope.
Two, maybe it waters down the product a little
Yep.
bit. It makes you chase a little more. That's probably it.
100%. And it makes it harder to hit the MVP guys,
yeah,
which lowers their buyback bill.
Yeah. Have they said where that's going to start on hobby boxes?
No, but my guess is where it was last year. Hobbies were $229 at release, and jumbos were $529.
Yeah.
So it's 1 auto versus 3. Or no, 1 auto versus 5. Jumbos are 5 autos.
Yep. So we got that coming up. The blaster boxes. Are they just megas or they do blasters, right?
They do blasters and megas.
Yeah. Blasters were going to be around $40 is what we were seeing for the retail releases.
That's my guess.
Again, retail product where you can hit some of those MVP buybacks. Maybe worth it for you. Getting up there around $40 for a blaster. It's, you gotta want to open it.
If you're going to buy 5 blasters, you might as well buy a hobby.
Yep.
And get a guaranteed auto.
If you're going to buy a hobby, you might as well buy a jumbo.
Well, the one thing and the other product that is, there's not an official release date yet, but I was talking to a couple of different people today who are closer to the Fanatics world and the distribution world than I am. It seems like the Topps Chrome basketball and football that we've been told are coming, are also going to drop right before the National. And the exciting
That's unofficial, right?
That's unofficial,
yep.
But that's what I'm hearing. It's also very exciting that it sounds like the SRP for those products is going to be $249, which it seems like Fanatics understands that this is a long game for them, unlike Panini, who for the last 4 years has been trying to squeeze every penny out of the hobby that they can. Having the flagship higher-end product, which Topps Chrome is equivalent with Panini to Prism. That's the equivalency. Having that product be a product that is affordable, that collectors can win in, and drive sales through cost is a huge, huge step in the right direction in the hobby. The fact that those products are going to drop at that SRP is really strong from Fanatics, in my opinion. Now, yeah, they'll be unlicensed, but I do, and I said this a month ago when we talked about this stuff coming when they announced it, I do think that the price point that we see this year is the standard price point plus or minus normal inflationary pressures that we will see from those products going forward when they become licensed.
I disagree. I think when it gets licensed, it'll be more expensive. But
why? Because baseball's $229 for a hobby.
Yeah, buckle up.
I don't think it will.
Okay.
The only reason they would do that is if they're afraid the market's going to completely collapse and they have to get all $50 million of their dollars back right now.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
I think it's going to go up. I really do.
I think secondary market will, but I think the SRP will be right there.
I can't wait to open some of it, especially that price point. It's going to be really cool. I wonder where retail lands on some of that stuff.
Yeah, I think the retail will be the same as anything else for Chrome products. It'll be $39.99, occasionally $34.99, but usually $39.99.
Yeah. Other big news for me. I'm going to build my first vintage set.
Yeah.
I landed on the 69 top set after discussion with some experts.
Not 59. If you need a 59, I got a perfect mantle for your set.
I'm not trying to go poor on this.
Gotcha.
I want a set I could do. And it sounded like the 68, 69 sets were good ones where you're chasing some cool Hall of Famers. If you want to get aggressive with going some high-grade stuff, it can get there. But you also can build the set out without having to go insane. So for the first time in, since the early 90s, I have a binder on the way. And I tell you what, binders,
is it a top loader binder at least?
It can be, but it's like the side load. You can do 12 per page.
If I was ever going to do that, it would be a top loader binder because I can't tell you how many cards I've seen get damaged, people pulling them out of a binder.
Yeah, no, these are like side load, and they have like a felt back on them, so they're penny sleeved. They fit in there nice, plenty of room. But anyway, I'm going to be starting that. So if any of you have a good lead on some 69 commons or whatever, let me know.
Hit me up.
Yeah, hit me up. I hope I don't get burnt out on this. I hope I actually do this because I think it would be if I
think
enjoy
you're going to fall down the rabbit hole.
You think so? Yeah, I think it could be a lot of fun. With the eBay store that I'm doing, vintage flies a lot faster, like low end vintage stuff because of the set building. I could totally see myself getting sucked into this, and then it'll be full circle. And like a year from now, I'll be like, oh, I just sold all those cards that I needed.
Yeah.
All right, you wanted to talk about Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, well, we were going to talk about it last episode. We were going to talk about her getting snubbed from the Olympic team, and we were going to talk about all the backlash that she has been getting in her rookie year. I never thought that I would give any shits whatsoever about the WNBA. Like, it never crossed my mind as an adult male that I would care. But this has been a really interesting thing for me. And I'm going to, like I promised you last week, try to not be any more aggressive in my thought process.
Antagonistic would be.
Yeah, antagonistic, I guess, than I need to. But can we just, for a minute, appreciate what Caitlin Clark's presence has done for the WNBA? Can we stop and actually think about the last time that anybody ever cared about the WNBA? The answer is nobody. They were averaging 3,000 or 4,000 fans a night at their stadiums. Bill Burr did a whole bit on it, and he was right. Ask every woman in the audience, tell me who your WNBA team is in your city. You can't. You don't even know. They're selling out their games.
It's happening. It's actually happening.
Yeah, they're selling them out. If Caitlin Clark is there, the scalping of tickets is through the roof.
Well, I'll tell you something that happened. Here's an effect. Jason Sudeikis is supposed to speak at my wife's HR conference, the SHRM conference in Chicago, which
Ted Lasso, Jason Sudeikis. Yeah.
So I don't know what he was offered in the contract, but I can tell you a conference of that scale, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Last minute, he just cancels to go watch Caitlin Clark because the Fever were playing.
In Chicago. Yeah.
So that is something that you didn't hear much of.
No.
A year ago.
No. And outside of the 3 girls that came out in the draft this year that were the 2 Iowa girls and Angel Reese, can any of you listening tell me 5 other WNBA players?
The other tall girl that got hurt, the blonde girl from
Kate Martin?
No. She's from UConn?
Yeah, but you can't tell me her name.
I can. Cameron?
Nope. That's my point. So why, now that these WNBA players who have been bitching and moaning for a decade or longer, that nobody pays attention to them, nobody cares about their sport, they're drastically underpaid, nobody watches them, just whining and whining and whining. Now that they're getting attention, guess who they all hate? Caitlin Clark. Now, you and I have a difference of opinion as to why that is, at least percentage-wise as to why that is. But I think we agree that all these factors come into play. It's just how much they come into play. You think that it's primarily jealousy-driven.
Yes.
I think that jealousy is part of it. But I'm going to be very frank. The places that she is getting the most pushback from are players in the league who are people of color and players in the league who are not straight. She is a straight white chick who is the reason that the league has attention now, and they all hate that. Part of it's jealousy, but part of it, in my opinion, a large part of it, is that. And it's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. To me, if I'm in a league and I've been struggling for 10 years and all of a sudden people are paying attention to me, I'm happy about it. I don't even care why. I'm going to make more money now. Mm-hmm. Why am I mad just because this girl who doesn't fit the narratives of our league? Because let's be honest, what's the narrative been of the WNBA?
It's hard to watch.
It's hard to watch.
Not many people in the stands.
Yeah, and who are the people in the stands usually?
I don't know. I've never met them.
Well, I mean, there's a stereotype that goes along. And please understand, when I say these things, this is not a judgment of any of those things. People, I don't care. I support everybody living their life however they want to. 100%. There's not an ounce of prejudice in my life. But I can't stand hypocrisy. That's one thing I'm prejudiced against is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy drives me out of my mind. And I see a lot of it here. And Caitlin Clark is carrying all these expectations and doing it on a bad team. People are like, oh, she turns the ball over. Have you watched how many passes that terrible team she's on has dropped that she has just laid in their hands on fast breaks? Like, she's one of the 3 or 4 best players in the league, and she's only played 30 games.
Yeah.
And she's just getting shit on.
Yeah.
On the regular from people who should be championing her.
Why should they champion her? I'm going to push back there.
Why should they champion her?
Yeah.
Because she's made them relevant. They were irrelevant. Completely irrelevant.
I guess you'd have to embrace that that's true before you could appreciate it.
Well, if you don't embrace that it's true, you're not embracing reality. Mm-hmm. The TV numbers 10 times the number of people are watching now.
Merchandise sales, ticket
10
sales.
times. Ticket sales, 10
And
times.
here's the thing,
And
too.
the only difference is she's there now, and she wasn't there then. Guess who was doing 10 times the last 2 years? The NCAA was.
Yeah.
Why? Because freaking Caitlin Clark was there.
Yeah. Which is why I think this is more jealousy. I don't think you have a leg to stand on with these other reasons. Like, there's definitely not been anything even implicated in communication, any interviews, anything like that. You do have a lot of people talking about jealousy. You do have a lot of people talking about she hasn't earned her dues to be on the Olympic team. She hasn't shown that she can do this. She hasn't been at this level long enough. She's just a kid.
Angel Reese isn't getting any of that pushback.
People don't like her. You think that
I'm not talking
she
about
has-
fans. This is not a conversation about fans
What-
at
what
all.
do you
This
mean?
is a conversation
Let's
about
pick
players.
Up, pick up.
and
I hear what you're
coaches
saying. Get
in
to your
the
point.
league.
You're not making a point.
Angel Reese is not getting any of that pushback from players. Her teammates love her. Caitlin Clark's teammates don't like her. Angel Reese's teammates like her.
All right. Is Caitlin Clark catching a little bit of the LeBron effect?
Possibly, but who are the people who tend to hate LeBron?
I know a lot of people.
Yeah, but they all tend to have a few things in common.
So this is a crazy amount of speculation, what you're doing right now.
Okay. I'm just telling you that
Reckless journalism.
what I have experienced
Reckless
with my own
journalism.
eyes and ears, there are a lot of commonalities between the people who tend to hate LeBron.
I mean, you and Skip Bayless need a show.
Oh, that's harsh.
That's how this sounds right
That's
now.
harsh.
It is. It is.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you that what I have seen, there's a lot of commonalities between the people who hate LeBron. They tend to be the same people who hate Joe Biden. They tend to be the same people who love Donald Trump.
Is that true?
That's been my experience. I haven't seen too many people
Like,
who don't fall into those
you're
camps who
reaching
are like,
for,
I hate LeBron
You're reaching
James.
for ratings that aren't out there right now.
I'm just saying. I'm telling you what I've experienced and what I see.
Let's get back to Angel Reese.
Okay.
So I do think it's interesting that in the interviews, she can't stop talking about her.
Well, she finally admitted the other day. She's like, I'm part of why this league's a big deal too. No, you're not. You're not. It's okay.
I would say that the storyline in the NCAA, she definitely elevated that because I would say that she was I felt like she wanted to be perceived a little bit as a villain. There's no doubt about it.
She embraced it.
Yeah.
And then she cried about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hypocrisy again.
I agree with all of that. I think it's the attention. I think it's the money. I think it's we've been grinding out this league and playing to empty seats, and you show up your first game, and now everything's different, and we should all be applauding you. That's just such a radical difference from 1 month before, right before the draft.
But who was the last person that came into the league who gave the league a boost? Because it has happened in the past. Who was the last person that came into the league?
Tarasi.
I would say Sabrina Ionescu.
Okay.
Also a white girl, but she wasn't a straight white girl. She didn't get any pushback from the other players in the league. She didn't. She didn't get an ounce of pushback.
There has never, ever, 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 ever in the WNBA been someone to come into the league to bring what
to this level, correct.
Yes.
I agree.
So
with you.
it's just,
but it's still steps. It's still incremental steps.
So
that
let
lead
me
you to a launching point. Am I wrong?
Okay.
When a rocket gets launched into space, there are multiple stages of rockets, right?
I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna end this right now. Has Caitlin Clark expressed her sexual orientation?
Yes.
Completely.
Yes.
Certainly.
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay.
Yes.
And you think
Multiple
that
times.
that is?
I think that the fact that she is both a white girl and a straight girl is a lot of why a lot of the players in the league have pushed hard against her. And it would be wrong if it was the other way, too. It would be completely wrong if it's the other way. We should not, in any circumstances, be attacking people based on things that they don't have control over. She had no more control over being born white and straight than somebody else did being born black and gay, or being born white and gay, or being born black and straight. Those are all things that we don't have any control over, and we shouldn't be pushing back on people or causing them problems because of it, period. And I think that within the league, there's now the stuff you're talking about fan-wise, I would agree with you with the fans. I don't think fans are looking at it through that lens. I do think that there's a big part of that happening within the league itself.
Have there
Players
been
and coaches.
anything communicated that indicates that you have a leg to stand on with this?
plenty of things. Go listen to the interviews. When we got to
Is there one quote that you're like, wow, that really sums it up?
Yeah, Dawn Staley before the championship game.
In the WNBA.
Well, Dawn Staley was a WNBA Hall of Famer and a current coach, and was speaking about her going into the league. She flat out said that she doesn't believe that any of Caitlin Clark's records are legitimate because a person of color did it earlier in fewer games. And she literally said it that way. Like, that stuff shouldn't be happening. Yeah, and it shouldn't be being perpetrated. No matter what. It's wrong across the board. And I hate seeing somebody who has the ability to elevate so many people. And I think that's the thing that's hard for me. This is a person who everybody in that league should be looking at as a hope. They should be looking at this person as helping elevate all of us. Let's champion that so we can all be elevated together. And instead, they'd rather try to tear her down and keep everything where it was.
Is it possible that she's a jerk and fans don't know it?
Maybe. That's obviously a possible thing.
I had thought that it was super strange.
But so was Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
A complete jerk. And the fans all knew it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his teammates still championed him, and the league still championed him, and the coaches still championed him.
Well, I would say that, first few years might have looked a little different than once you turned the corner at 90 and just started stacking rings on, right? But
I don't know too many high-performing athletes, and I've been around quite a few of them, who aren't a jerk at some level.
Okay.
Do you?
I do know that there's a lot that seem to be respected by the players.
No, I understand that, but there's a difference between being a jerk and not being respected.
That's the thing that I don't know that we know yet. It could just be that people are jealous. It could be what you're saying where there's prejudice going on at the very least. It could be that she's really just not that great to be on the team with.
It's possible, but her college teammates sure didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to, I think the word you just used there is something that would have been better for me to use throughout this whole conversation, and I will admit that. I have a problem with prejudice, period. Mm-hmm. And it's always uncomfortable when we talk about prejudice from a standpoint that isn't the historical norm for prejudice. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean it isn't prejudice.
Yeah.
And it's wrong no matter what.
Yeah.
And we should call it out when we see it no matter what.
So Caitlin Clark stays in the league, is a consistent top scorer. Let's say she has a 3-year career. For whatever reason, she's out of the league. Okay. Yeah. Is WNBA in a different place in year 4 and 5 and 6?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would agree. Here's what I think. If it's prejudice, if it's jealousy, do the other players realize that once those advertising and marketing dollars come in, the real ones, they tend to stick around, and now you're bidding that out on a regular basis?
Yeah, that's what my point is. It's like, this is an opportunity to take this league and make it what they've said for years they wish it was.
Yeah.
And they're shitting on it.
Yeah.
And I don't understand.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense.
Yeah.
Like, it makes zero sense.
Yeah. Do you feel better? I know you wanted to get that off your chest last time.
I hate it. I really do. It's like, it's not even an issue of feeling better. It's something that I really just, I hate. I hate everything about it on all sides. It just, I can't get my brain wrapped around people who
shocking.
Cut their nose off to spite their face.
It is a little bit. I expected there to be more of a warm welcome.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just the perspective of a fan. You don't know what it's going to be like till somebody gets in there. And in football, it is not uncommon for rookies to get in and get lit up because it's welcome to the league.
But the difference in football is the teammates that you have and your opponents aren't getting up in front of cameras and shitting all over you to the national media during that. That's just hazing. That's normal stuff. High school, it's the same way. Freshman first day, you're getting killed by a senior. It's going to happen.
You think she gets traded? I know nothing about how WNBA contracts work. Does she just get a rookie contract and then it's like...
I think it's like a 3 or 4 year
deal. So it's 3 years out of the gate.
The Fever would be insane to trade her. She's the hottest... They're making money that they've never seen before. Like, that particular team might break even this year, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but in the WNBA, it's a big freaking deal. They went from being a $100 million a year loser to this year, they're going to lose about $10 million.
Yeah. And the NBA's like, ooh.
Thank God. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So anyhow,
that is about 8 more minutes than I ever thought that we would talk about the WNBA on this show.
Well, and again, we do, believe it or not, make an effort not to get like too either political or
I do.
social.
You don't. You love this.
No, I do
You
try.
love this.
I do love it, but I try to keep it away from here in depth. I really do, unless it's something that I feel really strongly about. But when something that I feel strongly about intersects with our hobby and what we do, sometimes I gotta get that out.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyhow,
I
pickups this week.
I did notice it's like a contest to see whether the NBA or WNBA players have like a better purse walking into the game. Have you noticed that? It's really weird to me. All right, you wanted to talk pickups. You have picked up some filthy stuff. I've been buying a ton. It's just already on eBay.
Yeah, well, you've been really diving
I'm
in
focused
hard
right now.
on what you're, which is awesome. Like, so let me tell you guys this, and I'm gonna brag on Jason for a minute. Jason knew the eBay algorithm and how it worked. No question about that from his other eBay store. But he has, in a month, gotten his store to over 5,000 listings. He's got several dozen followers. He's got 100% positive feedback, and he's shipping out 80 to 100 packages every 2 or 3 days. And it's all set building, lower end stuff for the most part. So if you're out there wondering if it's possible to supplement your income in this world without setting up at shows all the time and without like running ragged and without emptying your pocketbooks to go buy inventory completely, yes, it's 100% possible. Is it hard work? Yes. Are there little bits of investment on the front end that will make life easier if you buy a drop scanner and things like that? Also, yes. Do you have to have those things to do this? No. It's able to be done, and I'll tell you what, the work that Jason's put into this and the results he's had so far, it would not be shocking to me at all if he has created a full-time, like a real-world grown adult income for himself within the next 6 months just from this stuff.
Yeah. It would be like a dream for me would be that this is all that I'm doing
Right.
by the end of the year. That's aggressive. The target number I've given myself, which I don't know if it's possible to be able to pull the orders in a day, would be to get to 100,000 items in the store.
Yeah. At that point, you need an employee.
Probably, yeah, because shipping's a full day.
Yeah.
But that's the bottleneck is efficiency. So I'm already learning how to build out different SKU systems, sorting, shipping. But it's a grind. But what's cool to me is most of what's in my inventory is just stuff that was laying around. And I've picked up maybe the equivalent of like 2-3 row boxes, maybe 3 2-row boxes of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe more. I'm not exactly sure, but it just takes effort.
Well, yeah, and which also goes to show that the key to selling stuff is getting what you have in front of as many eyes as possible. Stuff that would never sell at a local show to the 100 or 200 people that come in, when it gets in front of a few million eyes, a few of them are going to want or need that stuff for their sets or whatever else.
I just sold a Browns boxing Floyd Mayweather. It's like his second year. It is a rare card. Nobody at any show knew what it was.
Right.
Because it's not his, quote unquote rookie. Some dude in Australia knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And it was like a snap buy on a raw card for 150 that has no comps.
Right.
Now it's going to, who knows when it gets out there.
That's why
it gets there in the
eBay
right shape.
International shipping process.
Right,
Once you get it to eBay International Hub, you're good.
Yeah, on new stores, it actually takes a couple months for them to give you that.
Does
so
it?
I'm on
Okay.
the hook if it goes wrong here. But yeah, so I've been buying a lot of that kind of stuff, and then if there's interesting things in lots that I buy that I want to hang on to, I do. So I picked up a lot of like, not high end, but just like low end merino, numbered stuff,
Which is going to pain you to actually list.
I'm not going to list that. It's going to go into PC for sure. But I haven't bought a lot of, definitely not bigger stuff, but just bulk. Really cool vintage stuff. I'm trying to post some of it. If you haven't followed on Instagram, the ball card store, it'll be on there of just stuff that's going up in the store, stuff that's currently in. But things are moving right along. And a couple of you reached out. If you ever are working on your eBay store and I can help, feel free to shoot me a message or something. I can give you an answer that helps you out. I'm more than glad to do that. Maybe one day that'll be worth money. It's not yet until I prove it. But let me know if there's any way I can help you out at all. But Gary has picked up some really That stuff that just kind of makes me drool a little bit. I'll let you talk through some of the highlights.
So one of the things that I've been trying to do over the last 3 or 4 months, and I've been playing this game for a long time, and I've gotten tired of playing the same game everybody else does, because in a lot of ways, especially with ultra modern, non-numbered stuff, non-auto stuff, you're in a race to the bottom. And I just got tired of playing that game. I go to a show and I walk around and I see 50 tables and 40 of them have basically the same stuff. It's just the same stuff. I wanted my showcases especially to be stuff that you're not going to see, not only not at that show, but you might not see for another 10 shows.
Yeah.
You might not see till you get to the National or to the East Coast National or to Dallas or to Nashville or to the Midwest Monster or to Shipshewana. Like, you're not going to see it outside of the big shows. So that has been something that I have been consciously working towards. And over the last 3 weeks or so, both of my showcases have reached that level. The most common card that I have in either of my showcases right now is an Acuna PSA 10 numbered to 250 rookie. Like, that's the most common card that's in my showcases right now. They're not all numbered that low, but they're stuff you just aren't going to see. So in the last few weeks, I picked up a Barry Bonds box topper auto. It's graded 10. It's an oversized card. On card. Yep. They come up for hand numbered to 2001. They come up for sale once every 6 or 7 years publicly. There's 2 public comps in the last 6 years, 5.5 years. Picked up the highest graded example of first-year National Treasures Jim Brown patch auto game used patches. The highest graded. There's only 4 graded examples across all the grading companies. This is the highest graded one. It's an SGC 9 with a 10 auto. Think of what else has been like really banging that I've picked up. I just picked up a Jason Dominguez on the old ultra modern side, but it's a Pop 1 PSA 10 True Gold Bowman Chrome rookie auto.
That's your new challenge card.
That is my new challenge card, which check out TikTok. I threw it up there.
That's where I'm getting buried by focusing on the store right now.
Yeah, Jason still needs to buy a $400 card.
Well, and the National is not historically a place to find a super good bargain on a card, but I could find a cool one that, you know, maybe they're like, I don't know the comps on this. Yeah, 400 works, and then I just try to get 5 or 6 out of it. But
right, which the National would be your place to flip that stuff. But things like that, I picked up. Like today, I just picked up a 92-93 Beam Team Jordan in an 8.5, which is a pretty high grade for that card. Picked up a Chase Young rookie, which Chase Young, a lot of people think he's a bust. I don't think he's a bust, but he's an Ohio State guy, former All-American. His 1-of-1 select.
Yeah, in Columbus, that
gold
sells.
Vinyl select patch auto with a nasty patch that's graded. Picked up I don't mess with modern basketball. You guys have heard me say that, but I've started to play around with some of the Hall of Fame mid-modern stuff. Picked up a Chris Bosh game-used patch auto numbered to 10 that's a PSA 9. Picked up a 59 Mantle that's just about the cleanest raw one that I've seen. I'm sure there's some other ones out there, but most of them are graded. I think it realistically is a 6. I think 5's a worst-case scenario. And if I get a grader whose wife treated him real well the night before, maybe I get a 7. But I think that realistically it's a 6. But that makes it a $1,500-$1,600 card minimum. Picked up an Aaron Donald rookie auto Bowman Chrome on card True Blue PSA 9. Stuff like that is the stuff that I have been really focusing hard on. Picked up a Bryce Harper RPA PSA 10 that's a Pop 2. So like those are the kind of things that I'm targeting and get. The nastiest Garrett Cole second-year museum collection game used patches that
I've
never seen.
Half of the Buccaneer on it.
Yeah, on a baseball card. Like, it's numbered to 5. There's no comps.
It's like a licensed Leaf Trinity patch.
Yeah, it's like it's this type of stuff. I want people to come to my table and go, I can't find comps on that. No, it's rare as hell. Like, no, you can't find comps on it. I've got a price on it. If you like it, let's talk about it. Like Bob Gibson game used of 10 auto from Triple Threads, early Triple Threads. The Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna dual heritage auto, hand numbered to 25 on card.
That's my favorite one that you picked up.
Like that kind of stuff. And it's been received really well at shows. Here's the thing I will say, though, about having this kind of stuff in my showcase that's made my show experiences very, very different. Shows used to be extremely consistent for me. I could count on X dollars based on however much inventory I brought. Now, shows tend to be really amazing or really rough.
Yeah.
If people come to spend money and they have some real money, then I'm going to do really well. I'm not doing as well with the guys who want to spend $20 because I don't really, in my showcases, have that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's been my experience on that side of things, but it's been really fun to have some of the coolest stuff at the show. Like I walked the show in Cincy yesterday. There was one guy that had better stuff than me. One. And it was all ultra modern, but it was really nice.
My goal would be that eBay can fuel and pay for a showcase like that. And then when I do shows, it's something where I'm there. If I sell 5 cards, I'm going to be happy that it was worth my time. And then see what walks up and see if I can't scoop up a lot of bulk for eBay, and then sell a few cards for $200 to $500. You know, and maybe you have a great day and you do 5 or 10K. But
that was Marcus and Noah yesterday. They got hit by 2 repackers. Did like $9,000. That was the day.
Well, it was the right time too for the football stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So. But no, that's it's been a lot of fun doing that. And I know a lot of you guys watch our TikTok too. I'm gonna throw a pickup video from this weekend up. I've been trying to do that every weekend.
You definitely should. I should do a video just showing the type of stuff I'm listing.
Yeah.
What's coming through, what's been moving, that kind of stuff.
What else we got?
I think that's it. That's it for this week.
That's the episode. Well, I wouldn't. And you know what's really fun? I'm looking at our wave files there, and they're not too disparate.
Yeah, you didn't just talk the whole time.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah. This has been the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye now.
Peace.